know if this is gonna work. Testing. Testing. Okay. Let me just make sure. I'm gonna put this out. Okay. Alright, I think we're good. Oh, hi. Hello. I hope everyone is doing just peachy. And if you're not peachy, you've come to the right place. Because hopefully listening to this will either help validate your feelings or help you escape for a little or, help you rewire some things or help you become aware of some things. I don't know. I wanted to talk about people pleasing because I'm going to be so real. I am not feeling my greatest. There, all right. I'm not feeling my greatest today. And it's rooted in a lot of people pleasing thoughts and like the repercussions of that, I guess. And I wouldn't even say I'm not feeling my greatest. I'm just feeling what I'm feeling, right? But I'm feeling emotional today. I'm also feeling a peace, and I think they can exist at the same time. Equal peace and also sadness, because I would say sadness is kind of there too. Feelings of grief, just kind of like a whole ocean of motions. So, normally, when I feel this way, I talk to myself for hours upon hours as if I'm kind of like my own therapist and I'm like talking to my inner child. But I was like, okay, how can I could make this even more quote unquote effective if I maybe record it and get some wisdom out of it. I don't even know. But yeah, no, today I've been feeling sadness because of this conditioned part of me that is people pleasing. um, and it's, I guess, the more I literally live through each day, I realize the more, I guess, trauma in my, like, as I was growing up, that resulted into me really being like a people pleaser. And I'm pretty sure you can get diagnosed with it now. That's not important, but it is important, but that whatever. That's not the point that I was trying to say, but I'm just saying it's a very common thing that I know I'm 100% not alone in. Um, but basically, the more I wake up and go to bed, the more I realize, damn, like I have a lot of rooted pain as a kid that really resulted me to always making sure that everyone around me but myself was okay. And it makes me emotional thinking about it because I'm just ugh, I'm just viewing myself as a 10-year-old Maddie, So that's why it kind of gets me emotional because I can feel it in my body too. But yeah, I don't even know like what I wanted to talk about. I just kind of wanted to air out my thoughts because I know I'm not alone in this, you know what I mean? people pleasing, if you don't, I guess, identify with it, and I think everyone has like a little part of it where, you really are kind of overextending yourself and forgetting about your own needs. And I think we all are subject to do that. Some, though, really is more severe than others. And I don't even want to think of it as like the right way to be or the wrong way to be. We are human, you know what I mean? Like we're not a perfect we're not a perfect we are perfect in the sense of like our soul and our divine nature, but as a human with a mind and an ego, we are by no means perfect, okay? Therefore, some people have that people pleasing, deep empathy for people, and it's severe because you start to disregard your own autonomy. And for me personally, it was very obvious that I was like caring for people and had a hard time saying no. I had a hard time saying no to anybody, was always trying to avoid conflict by any means necessary, trying to be in control of the situation, of every relationship, friendship. So it's been constant. And I know, like, as in your 20s, as your temporal lobe is developing, like, this is where in life you start to get hit with the childhood trauma. So I'm very much aware of the happenings of that, and I'm thankful that, it's coming to light, and I'm noticing that in my friendships and my relationships and with myself, how it's so like how it's so like deep in me. But yeah, I think people, including myself, who have a very hard time saying no, just like completely put themselves out of a situation to avoid as much conflict as possible and try and keep the peace. And in the moment you think that it's so like that's beneficial, like that's the smartest way to go about things. If I just say yes to this task, even if I don't want to, even if my body is telling me like, no, just stay home, or no, you don't have to do that. Ignoring that and still saying yes, you think in that moment that is the smartest choice, because you're thinking, how can I save any possible like future conflict? You think by saying yes to it all that it's going to benefit you down the line, when that can honestly be the complete opposite. It can eat you alive, honestly, like just constantly trying to make other people happy, and you become mentally exhausted. Your body becomes exhausted. Your body starts, I feel like when I'm not following my instincts and when I'm not listening to myself first, I'm definitely not as like present, and I'm not like as intuitive as normal. And it just kind of feels like like I start rejecting myself. People pleasing as well has a tendency to, like, you become attached to people, you become attached to scenarios, to material things. I don't even know. But you notice, at least for me, I notice that when I'm trying to keep the morale high or I'm trying to avoid any fallout, I'm going to sink my claws into this person, whether they even know it or see it. They can probably feel it, one, but two, it's viewing it to, like, as my perspective. I i think that's like the safest option, because I then become in control of it. Once you start to notice these patterns, things start to shift. I know for me, when I started to really, really notice my, like, moments where I could have said no and I should have possibly said no, or in moments where I was just way too, like, giving way too much energy than I to someone that I clearly should not have. And it's not blaming yourself, it's not judging yourself, it's just, noticing it and knowing, like, next time how you could choose a different choice and where that could lead to more peace. But once I started to become really aware of my patterns, it, like, things, you notice just more opportunities to not be such a people pleaser, I guess. I want to try and like, word that correctly though, like a little bit differently, but it's just becoming more awake to it. When you become more awake to it, and then you have moments where, in this moment I can decide to either follow what I'm feeling, or I can just try and make someone else happy. Whether or not you follow whichever decision, knowing that you're more awake to it, it's going to change. Like, it changes a lot about your friendships, because then you're starting to notice that people will take advantage of you if you are prone to people pleasing. Narcissist people will, emotionally unavailable people will, subconsciously or maybe extremely intentionally, sociopathic tendencies, I guess. Um, Once you become more awake to that, you start to notice then a lot more about the other person, and so on and so forth. Friendships might start to get a little messy, though. Relationships might start to get a little messy. Just relationships in general, or coworkers, like, I don't know, it's like, you agree? There's been moments recently where I've really had to sit back and kind of let go and fully, like, just surrender to whatever the mucky situation might be. And that's so different than what I would have previously done. If there was a mucky situation, and I'm choosing the word mucky for reasons I don't know why. I don't even think I've ever used that word before. If I am in a sticky, mucky situation that is possibly resulted or prone to me becoming like my people pleasing tendencies to be more and like pronounced, if I'm in a situation like that, I would become more attached to it, right? I would think, okay, how can I make this better? How can I be in control, right? But lately, or I mean, yeah, I guess lately I've had to make the conscious hard decision to sit back and just let actions show for themselves and be this observant person. Like, there's been friendships where I had to surrender because there was a dissonance, and I noticed that I was becoming very obsessed with it. And I have a hard time using that word, but I want to start using it and feeling okay to use it. But I become more obsessed with it. And it really, like, I don't think I know an example that has kind of ended peacefully because of the choices to just say yes to everything, even when I was unhappy, or try to avoid the conflict and just kind of be the one to say sorry first because I just want to make sure that they're happy. I've had friendships like that, and it was just like poison to my peace. So I think in my life situation, present moment, what I've noticed over the past year, honestly, that I am consciously working on daily is letting actions speak louder and really just dancing in the power of silence that I have. Because I feel like another symptom, another indicator, I guess is a better word, of people pleasing is the fear of silence and just honestly silence in general. And I would love to know if I'm not the only one in this, because I haven't, when I've like listened to podcasts or read things about people pleasing, I really don't see a lot about the fear of silence or just the anxiety around silence between people or the people pleaser, you know? So I would love to know if I'm not like the only one in that case, but I do feel like that's a huge indicator where silence is just so scary. And again, that could just be a me thing. I've always, I've triggered, like me, I really get triggered with silence from people, because to me that means that my first initial thought is they hate me, they're mad at me, so on and so forth. And it eats you alive, right? But I've really been trying to work with this power within me that is silence. And it's strong, you know? And this goes back to kind of like surrendering and letting action speak louder than words, or just letting action show you exactly what is true to my eyes instead of me projecting. Instead of like me projecting onto someone else or coming up with scenarios that, or me trying to be in control and me hypothesizing like why, you know, they wouldn't be, they would feel uncomfortable, or are they mad at me, so on and so forth. The silence is just powerful, I guess. I think basically all in all, right now, like I think what's so big for me and what's so like uncomfortable, this feeling, is because I am disengaging from my people pleasing tendencies. Because to someone who doesn't struggle with people pleasing, to me, like that, if they were listening to this, they could be so like foreign to this feeling where it's like, I have never felt this way, where it's like this magnitude of emotions when you just feel so out of control because you can't avoid conflict and you can't say no. Like, to someone that doesn't necessarily struggle with that, it could be so foreign to them, right? And it's like, okay, cool. But to the people that I know, if you're listening and you feel this, I know you know like what I'm feeling, where just letting someone show you, or at least giving energy, where giving the reciprocated energy that someone else is giving you. The pain is valid, because as a people pleaser, when you are so used to giving so fucking much of yourself, and then for you to choose to step back and basically go against the feeling, go against the urge, is so powerful in itself. And it's painful, but it's powerful. But yeah, this ability to step back and just reciprocate what, you know, you're given, is also, from what I've been feeling, is also freeing a lot. When you are in the headspace to, when you are in the headspace and mindset to actually want to change things, things will start to change. And I can speak for myself. Like, I am in this headspace and I know life goes like up and down, and I could be, you know, basically I know like it too shall pass, right? Like, there is good, but there's also really murky, shitty, bad feelings, right? So I know that in this moment, my perspective, my mindset my goal is to change my neural pathways, or try and work towards healing these conditioned neural pathways of my people pleasing, because my body is exhausted and I can feel the exhaustion. And I think it's a beautiful thing, because I know going I am following in the direction of what my body is telling me, and it's affirming, and it really is. But when you actually want to change, like, you will notice it. And when you don't want to, you're always going to find some way to just really not do it, or at least not go to the full potential that you could. And we're all like that. I'm like that with so many things. But right now, like in my present moment, I am feeling this pull to just finally, for once, say no to things, or finally, for once, like sit back and release control of relationships that I can't force to keep, or keep like blooming, in the sense. Like, not over watering it. And I've noticed this shift. I really have noticed this shift, and it makes me emotional. Like, I've cried a lot today because I know it's working, and it's sometimes it's sad to know, like, that you got to do it sometimes. Like, you got to just, like, let it be. And for me, as someone who loves to have control over things, it's sad yet healing, because I feel this peace about it, where I just trust the flow of life, where if I'm just surrendering to things, I know I am following like my divine nature, and it will get me to things that actually serve me. So there is greater good to it, but it is fucking painful too, because I still feel the hurt stored into my body as a kid who is having those urges to try and keep people happy. And that's all I knew as a young child. And I'm not judging myself for it. I'm like, I want to shower that part of me with love, while also healing the fuck out of it as well. Because I know in no way this healing is linear. This is stored in me, right? Like, I can work to create new pathways in my brain to help me in the future when it comes to people pleasing. But that shit is stored with me to, like, always, right? And I'm always going to feel it. It's the pain body, the ego in me will always, like, it's a memory. It'll always come up. And it's not this enemy by any means. It's a friend, it's like something I need to nurture, but I'm so also like exhausted of continuing that. But again, I know it's not linear. So like that's the joyride of a human. I don't know. I'm like, I don't know. Did I just like spitball like literal nonsense? I'm not sure. Um, it's a real thing. I kind of just want to like sit in silence for a second. So if you want to do that with me, please feel free. I think when you find yourself in scenarios that are really painful and hurt because you notice that you have said yes to things that you shouldn't have or you didn't want to. I'd rather say that, but you didn't want to, or you haven't had conversations with people because you wanted to avoid the conflict. You notice that over time, though, in those scenarios, like it is just pile after pile, like that is just leading up to possibly a really bad breaking moment, you know? Because in the moment, you want to avoid any conflict. It's also a grieving process, too, though. When you start working with your shadows and you do shadow work and you're like working with your psyche and you're starting to really feel in tune with your body and notice things about your childhood and notice things of how to, like, things that you fucked up in the past, the regrets, all of that, you you start to grieve it. And in this case, when it comes to people pleasing, when you are actively deciding, I'm going to let go and I'm going to choose myself, and if that means distancing, if that means silence, if that means saying no, if that means bringing up a hard conversation, there's grief to it. You're losing a part of yourself that you have known for so long. And you could also be grieving a person, though, too, at the same time. In relationships and friendships, whether it's significant partners, a friendship, a coworker, family relationships, like when you've been so used to that people pleasing mindset of making sure everyone's happy, really attaching yourself because you don't want to lose them, or so on and so forth, when you start to release and let go, you can feel a grievance. You can feel like you're then possibly losing the person that you like you poured so much of yourself to. And when you kind of sit back and then they're giving you half, like not even half as much as what you gave them, and you're not even quote unquote trying anymore, it is like, it's a pain where it feels like you're going through the grieving process. It's miraculous what the body does, but it's really wild at the same time. Cuz I definitely feel feelings of grief, because it's that acceptance of, damn, me not giving so much anymore is possibly pulling people away, or sorry, is possibly having things fizzle out because you honestly just stopped giving so much of yourself. I feel those feelings of grief. Because then you're also, like I said in the beginning, like you're grieving then a part of yourself that you've always known. And to me, I will say that's a part where I think it's very beautiful because I will always care for the like the part of me that will still but has gone through lots of things that I shouldn't have I didn't want to go through. But knowing that I am healing towards a more healing towards autonomy is beautiful to me. And it excites me because I know it's all a journey that I have to just enjoy. But there's also sadness. And that's why it's so important to note that those can all exist at the same exact time. I don't know. Like, I guess some words of affirmation, though, for the people out there that do struggle with this. And this is for me as well. But it is okay to grieve. It is okay to feel sadness about letting go and letting just things show you for what they are. It is okay for all of that. But it is so important to choose your instincts. It is the most important thing in the world to choose what your body is instinctively telling you. And I'm no master by any means, but I'd love to record an episode about how to determine how to follow your gut, how to follow your instincts. I'm no master by any means, but I feel like I would love to speak on that sometime. But it is the most important thing in the world to follow what your body is telling you. And the amazing thing is you could say, I don't know what it's saying, but you do, you know in that moment if you want to say no, And it is hard. It is hard. I don't even know if I'm who knows what the rest of my day will look like, if I'll be able to, I want to, but I'm just saying it is hard to say no to things that may cause conflict, or it's hard to say no to things that you may think that people are going to be mad at you after. It is fucking difficult. It is so fucking hard. But just know that is the most important thing in the world, is to follow what your body is telling you, because it will always tell you exactly what you need to know. It will always tell you exactly what you need to know. And another thing is you are strong enough to do that. If people want to fucking leave you because you are choosing what your body is telling you, then let those motherfuckers leave so fucking hard. I'm sorry, but let them go. Let them go. And again, I know also the people pleasers out there, they want to find the good in everybody. They see the good in everybody, and that is such a beautiful, remarkable trait that we have, because you do see that invisible sparkle that they have that other people might not see. But as hard as it is, sometimes you have to let those people be exactly what they are choosing to be like. You know? And if they want to leave, if they want to act different, if they want to run because you are saying no, you are following yourself, you have to let them. And that is not an overnight thing. That will take work. And you may grieve, and that's why it is okay to grieve when you lose people, because you are choosing to go against the people-pleasing tendency. Like, that is what happens. But there is something so remarkable and inquisitive about following what your body is telling you, because it will lead you to the people, it will lead you to the opportunities that are supposed to be presented to you. This is definitely for myself as well. I might re-listen to this, or I might listen to this back, because I'm going to have to hear it time and time again. And it's all in the baby steps, too. It's all in the baby steps of just these little decisions to follow your body. It's even like saying no to random little things. Like, if a friend is saying, do you want to go to this lunch spot? And you don't want to go there. You don't want to go there because you don't want to go there. And it's okay if you don't want to go there. It's those little baby steps of being like, no, can we not go there? And if they get mad at you because of that, then I don't, why are you friends with them, kind of thing. But it's just those little baby steps. I'm sorry. I got caught up on the lunch thing, because I'm like, if someone gets mad at you because they said no to this lunch spot, then that's crazy. But yeah, just take your time with it. And I'm going to stop talking, and things will be okay. But hopefully you got something out of this, and I hope you have a great day. And I'll see you soon. Fuck. My video stopped working. Okay, it's fine. Okay. Bye, guys.